It's now time for the Rebirth Sports full game recap. We go all the way back to March 23rd of the year 2025 when the Nashville Predators were in St. Louis to face off against the Blues for the second time in less than a week, and also the second night of a back-to-back. Head coach Andrew Burnett deploys his lines of defensive pairings in the following way. Forsberg, O'Reilly, Evangelista, Bunting, Stamkos, Marchessault, Smith, Svechkov, and Bellows, LaRue, McCarron, and Sissons, Shea and Blankenberg, Del Gaizo, and Barron, Englund, and Stastny. Onanen gets the start in net. We are 2:14 into the first period where we find our first activity. We pick it up with Binnington coming up with a save on LaRue's deflection. Great first scoring opportunity of the game for the Predators and the first shot on goal overall of the game. The 3:19 mark of the first is Onanen coming up with a save on Falk. That's the first save for Justus Onanen. The 4:17 mark of the first period sees Onanen coming up with a save on Suter. Yes, indeed, that Ryan Suter. At the 8:17 mark of the first period, LaRue versus Walker. 5 minutes each. It ends with a capitulation and a bloody mess by Zach LaRue, getting his nose absolutely smashed. But a hell of a bout before that. Very much looking forward to many more years of these to come. The 9:22 mark of the first period is Binnington coming up with a save on Del Guys with the 10:59 mark of the first is Onanen coming up with a save on Holloway off of the rush. 12:13 though. Kyrou on the board for the St. Louis Blues, breaking through with his 30th of the season. The Blues taking a 1-0 lead as he was the trailing player on the rush and got that quick release off, beating Onanen for the first goal of the game. 15:14 of the first, Onanen comes up with a save on Kyrou, plus 2 follow-ups by Holloway. An impressive save sequence by Justus Onanen right here at the 16:24 mark of the first. It's Bunting off the box, 2 minutes for roughing. Texier picking up his 5th goal of the season. It was a tic-tac tap-in to make it 2-0 in favor of the St. Louis Blues, and the Blues were just picking apart the Preds penalty kill in this particular situation. 17:11 now. The first, Onanen comes up with a save on Walker at close range. 19:12. The first, Binnington, a save on Shea, plus the follow-up by Nick Blankenberg. 19:58 now. Rover, 2 minutes tripping. Toropchenko and Marchessault also off the box, 2 minutes for roughing. All hell broke loose. It was one of the biggest scrums of the entire season. Very surprised not more penalty minutes coming out of this situation. Glad there was still time on the clock because I think if the officials had a chance to review the videotape during intermission, they might have assessed more penalties, but this was definitely a situation where Marchessault felt like he took a dirty hit and he got up and torpedoed his man on the other side of the rink. We hit the end of the intermission. St. Louis holds a 2-0 lead and are out shooting the Nashville Predators 9-7. The Predators do get a power play out of that situation and that big scrum at the end of the first period, so 1:59 of that carries over to the second period. That's where we pick up the action with Philip Forsberg scoring his 28th goal of the season. He turns Suter around and then used that ace release to put the puck in the net. The Nashville Predators on the board, but still trailing St. Louis 2-1 early in the second. 5:19 of the second period. It is Broberg off the box, 2 minutes for high sticking. Binnington, a save on Stamkos. Binnington also a save on Marchessault. The Predators power play unable to convert on this opportunity. 9:48 now of the second period. It's Binnington with a save on Bunting. Past the halfway point of the game at the 10:04 mark now. Binnington comes up with a save on Sissons. 13:21 of the second period. Binnington comes up with a save on Mark Del Gaizo in 14:49. Onanen comes up with a save on Bolduc. Onanen really not much action in this period. 19:57 of the second. Binnington, a save on O'Reilly. At the end of the second period, the Predators are down 2-1, but they are now out shooting St. Louis 15-12. So the Blues, with only 3 shots on goal in the entirety of the second period, feeling very much like the game against the Toronto Maple Leafs that the Predators just wrapped up the night before. But the second night of back-to-backs going into the third period, Preds down by 1, 10 seconds into the period. It's Thomas hitting the post. Onanen gets the quick whistle, and this really benefited the Nashville Predators. The Blues were pouncing on this opening face-off play. 2:27 of the third period now. Binnington with a save on Bellows. 3:09 of the third. Onanen a save on Walker with 4:30 mark of the third period. Binnington coming up with a save on Jonathan March. So it's 6:59 now of the third period. Binnington another save. This time on Philip Forsberg's backhand. Forsberg again hunting and lurking all over the offensive zone in this game. 7:46. Broberg returns to his home, the penalty box. This time 2 minutes for hooking, his third minor penalty of the game. Binnington a save on O'Reilly. Binnington then a save on Forsberg. Predators cannot convert on this opportunity at the 10:29 mark of the third, just past the halfway point of the period. Now Falk, his fourth goal of the season, comes off of a 3-on-2 rush. The Blues jumped on the D-zone face-off. The Predators win the face-off. This has happened to them now twice in the last couple of games, and they jump on that puck and off to the races. The 3-on-2 and ends up in the back of the net. St. Louis Blues now lead 3-1. 12:52 of the third. Binnington comes up with a save on LaRue. We hit the backside of the sheet. We found ourselves at 13:17 of the third period. That's where McCarron and Walker are picking up misconducts. What started as a post-whistle scrum, well, a during-the-play battle, then a post-whistle scrum, and then a lengthy chirping discussion, and then a double-back scenario led both of the players to getting misconducts right here. So that would be the end of the night for those two. 13:53 now, Bolduc and Blankenberg. We're going to get a situation now where Blankenberg looks like it was a knee-on-knee contact, or more significant contact than it actually was during live play. So the St. Louis Blues overreact to the situation. So Blankenberg clips his man there in the neutral zone, and then all of the St. Louis Blues decide to jump and rat pack Nick Blankenberg. So we end up with Bolduc off the box, 5 minutes for cross-checking as he hit Blankenberg while he was down on the ice extremely viciously. Obviously, it earned a 5-minute major for cross-checking. Blankenberg does get a minor for tripping. That means 4-on-4 for 2 minutes, then the Predators on a 3-minute major power play. This should be the turning point of the game, but O'Reilly picks up a penalty, 2 minutes for tripping almost immediately. 10 seconds in, as a matter of fact, creating a 4-on-3 power play for the St. Louis Blues for 1 minute and 50 seconds. Onanen comes up with a save on Holloway. The Nashville penalty kill would do a fantastic job. Then they would get the opportunity to engage in that major power play scenario. Binnington would come up with a save on Forsberg. Binnington would also come up with a save on O'Reilly, but the Predators fail to capitalize on a major power play situation. 18:52 now of the third period. Binnington comes with a save on Steven Stamkos at 19:22. Schenn with the empty net goal, his 17th of the season, makes it 4-1 in favor of the St. Louis Blues, and that's going to be your final. It would not play out the same way as it did the previous day against the Toronto Maple Leafs. This time, the Predators lacking the energy reserve and unsuccessful in special teams play, unable to make the comeback. They fall 4-1. They do outshoot the St. Louis Blues 28-18. The rough stuff, as we predicted, happened all throughout this game. Fights, misconducts, big hits, very aggressive play all over the ice. Jonathan Marchessault just absolutely torpedoing his man and only getting 2 minutes. Relieved for that. That could have been much worse. So for the Nashville Predators and St. Louis Blues, they're going to do this again in just a couple of days. And I think the final act of the season series between these two teams is going to be quite vicious. But that's going to do it for this one. The Preds started out with 7 shots on goal in the first. They go to 15 by the end of the second. They finish with 28. They only get on the board for 1. That's the second game in a row they've lost to the St. Louis Blues by the score of 4-1. That's going to do it for the Rebirth Sports full game recap. We do have analysis, box score, and more coming up next right here on the Renegades of Puck Podcast.